And we're back. This is Investing Insights with Barry Burnett. I'm your host, Barry Burnett, and I have the pleasure of presenting to you every Saturday night, 8 to 9 p.m. here on Talk Radio 790 KABC, a program for you, entrepreneurial investors, real people, regular folks who have bought your home and other investments into your real estate portfolio, and you need to have tools in your toolkit. You need to have this information, and there are so many aha moments and light bulbs flashing right now in this show. It's about extraordinary things that you can do for your exit strategy so you can live your life stronger, safer, smarter. And here's what we're talking about. We're talking about how you as a family, you as a property owner, can make a plan that you can have your cake and eat it too in a big way without having your cake and having the government eat it for you. Now, you tend to think about charity as I'm giving it away and I can't have it, I can't touch it, I can't reach it, and that is not necessarily the case. Is it, Greg Bodine, a senior gift advisor for Salvation Army? What's your title again, Greg?
Senior gift and estate planner.
An estate planner. Okay, so our listeners may be aware of some of the fringe edges of this, but I bet not. So if you're driving along and you're listening, don't worry about it. You can catch it up on podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube. You go to YouTube and you search Barry Burnett Radio on YouTube. Who knew? But you can do this, and you can contact Greg Bodine through barryburnett.net. That's barryburnett.net, barryburnett.net. When you register, you can get downloads from him, white papers, information that follows up on this, and incredible advice and blogs that we have prepared for you. Greg, you have some examples of some really vital stuff that I bet our listeners have never heard before.
Well, here's what I'd like to talk about next, but I want to start with the concept of the tree and the fruit, because like you mentioned, most people wouldn't think of charity as a way to better themselves. You think of that as divesting yourself or giving it away and it's gone. Not so. Sometimes you actually come out financially better. Oftentimes you come out better with your family or yourself or your lifestyle, or, and so on. But this one, so think of the tree and the fruit, and the Charitable Remainder Trust, or the Life Income Charitable Trust, as I like to call it, is where you receive the fruit and you give the tree. Okay.
And somebody else harvests it for you and hands it to you.
Right. And the tree can grow, and it's managed, and that's what the trustee does. The next one I want to talk about is the reverse of that, where you give the fruit to charity for a while, predetermined amount of time, and then the tree comes back to the family.
Oh, so somebody has a known expectation of a massive income increase.
Oh, yes.
And how do we protect it from the IRS taking the vast majority of it? So they know they're going to get some corporate bonus or some massive sale of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or kill an IRA, and they're going to get massive income that they can't then deal with the income off of their properties.
Right. Or the land is in the pattern of growth, like we've seen in Southern California, and I grew up here, and I've seen it a couple times. If you have land in the pattern of growth, you see it appreciating dramatically in the next 5 or 8 years. If you transfer it into this trust, you can have that growth grow tax-free. When it comes back to the family, there's no tax on the growth. That's one of the most powerful financial concepts. I've taught this to 3 professional groups last year. It's little well known, called the Charitable Lead Trust. And the essence is you lend the asset to charity for a while through a trust. They get the income. Okay, they get the fruit. I always think of an orange tree. When I do seminars, I use an orange tree my kids drew, and real oranges. And then at the end of the trust, the tree, whatever size it's grown to, comes back to the family, usually tax-free if you structure it right.
Now, you can structure it right, and in order to get this structure, you can get to Greg through barryburnett.net because you're listening to Investing Insights with Barry Burnett here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Greg Bodine, you're currently a senior estate planning and giving executive with Salvation Army. This project, this program helps people protect themselves from extraordinary sudden surges of income, but they get the property back without having to pay a massive capital gain while it was growing.
Let's talk about the story that I had in mind. This is a California family. They wanted to name a building, a Salvation Army building, after the family name. And so they had this family limited partnership that it included, among other things, a shopping center in Las Vegas. But the Las Vegas economy in 08, 09 tanked worse than most because it's a discretionary economy. It's a tourist economy.
Right.
So it hurt the income. And so the Salvation Army and a West Coast California university were going to share in this.
You're listening, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to something you can do for your alma mater if you choose.
That's right. You can have multiple charities involved with this.
Yeah. Okay.
So the income came to, well, actually, they had some trouble financially to meeting the demands of the trust. And so what we ended up doing is settling for a cash settlement with the present value of the total, which was going to be $1.5 million ultimately. So they were able to come up with a total lump sum, and we got everything earlier. So they preserved their tax deduction, the assets still in the back to the family, and we got a wonderful gift to name that building after the family.
So, okay, cash transferred to the charities.
Well, family limited partnership transferred to a trust, and then the income from the partnership flowed through the partnership, through the trust, to this university and us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they still retain the asset.
They lend the asset, really. It's like a temporary endowment. It's like lending a gift.
Now, here's the crazy thing. You do this when the market is tanking, and then you get it back when the market is up.
Right.
And everybody wins.
That's right.
And there's no massive tax consequence. Crazy concept. Can you even imagine you're driving down the road listening to this program, Investing Insights with Barry Burnett, and you've never heard such a thing, but you can reach Greg Bodine through barryburnett.net. So, Greg, what else happens when you do something like this?
You can plan lump sums of inheritance to your children and your grandchildren. You can help provide for education. You actually can protect from creditors and predators. And divorce protection as well.
Oh, and divorce protection.
And you can save income, gift, and estate taxes. I mean, there's so many things. I could do a 3-hour seminar just on, in fact, I have on this one alone, the Lead Trust.
Which I love because our listeners now have access to one of the top 100 estate planning specialists in the country. The legitimacy of this is that you do research and then teach it to the estate planners and teach it to certified planning institutes. This is stuff that you do for the sake of your charity, which happens to be the Salvation Army. And yet all of these principles can go to any charity whatsoever. And basically it says to the government, no, I'd rather reinvest the way I want to reinvest instead of giving this to you for some unnamed roadway that will never get built.
And in fact, the government wrote the rules and the laws. And in fact, Congress 100 years ago, when they instituted the income tax and the gift tax and the estate tax, they were actually, in the deliberations in the floor of Congress, they were concerned that an added cost of living would put a damper on philanthropy. So while they increased and created these new taxes, they also created the deduction for charity to encourage charitable giving. Well,
back when they did this, charity was supposed to be the protective safety net for the public rather than government programs. Now, the people that are our audience are basically the ones who are providing the money to the government programs, and sometimes we resent it. Sometimes we feel like, I've never seen the plaque on the building that says my name, why I gave this this giveaway to the government that's going to go to some nation that hates us. But on the other hand, if you want to reinvest your protected assets into your charity of choice, this is the way to do it, and we've got much more coming right back on Investing Insights with Barry Burnett here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. You've got to stay tuned for this.